Interesting as always.
We won.
Yeah.
The days of giving up 439 yards going to put me in a grave. It drives me crazy. I mean, we couldn't cover Caleb Wilson. I said earlier in the week he was scary, and gosh dang, I think he had 11 catches for like 170 yards, something like that. They were like 7 of 14 on third down, so we did a poor job. I mean, and a couple of those were quarterback scrambles. Now, we had the perfect storm of injuries early and the targeting call. I mean, we lose Jalen, we lose DeMonte King early, and now we're playing with Cam Phillips, who he did some good things, but he made some mistakes. I mean, a couple of those balls that they caught, we got nobody even close to him. It looks like we're freaking, I don't even know what we're playing. And you can't do that if you want to continue to win these games. I mean, we positive, the 2-minute drill. I told you next time we have a 2-minute drill, I'm going to go down swinging. And we did. And we got pressure on the quarterback and caused a fumble. Wish we'd got that ball back. I mean, that would have been, we only had 1 turnover on the day. But I wasn't going to let them dink and jive it down the field because, I mean, we might have given up a long play and they might have won the game on a freaking getting beaten man coverage, but we were going to come after them. And it worked that time, so it's good.
Is the flip side of the coin of stopping Joshua Kelly in the running game is them having success to the passing because it just felt they had to go that route anyway?
Well, they did some stuff scheme-wise that was good for them. We get away with our D linemen covering those guys sometimes, and we couldn't. They did a great job picking them off with some, but they were using our D linemen to pick them off. Very well coached. They used the umpire a couple times to pick off our guys. I mean, we ran into the umpire 3 different times. I mean, I had to finally ask him if he could back up to 12 yards because they were doing a good job of using it. And then we tried some stuff late in the second half. We tried to double him a little bit, which was okay. But then when they took him out of the game, we had Stanley Lambert in there, and we had a couple deals where we were lost. So we give up a quarterback scramble on 3rd and 5 where we should have a guy standing right there waiting for him. I mean, what do we give up on defense? 21 points? What was the score? 28?
28, but 21 points on defense.
Should give up 7. We shouldn't have given up the long touchdown right there, right before with 4 minutes to go. And then they got the one early in the second half. I mean, it was about 4 plays, and we have 3 assignment errors now. We got some new guys out there, but that excuse on the sideline is getting old. It's driving me crazy.
How scary is it, though, when they go down and score that touchdown, get the stop, get the ball back, and then there's an opportunity for them to tie it? And what's that like as a coordinator?
I wasn't worried about that at that point. The only thing going through my mind was, well, they're going to score because we don't make a play in coverage. Because we ran cover 2 the first time just to see if they were going to try what they were going to try and do. Because they had enough time that they could, the way they were moving the ball, I didn't want him to get out of bounds. We knew he wasn't going to be able to scramble around unless we just only sent 3. We went to sent 3. They were able to get out in the pocket, and he was getting some positive yards. We knew they didn't have any timeouts, so at that point it was, let's see if we can cover. The safety matchup on 81 wasn't a big deal. When we get him covered in safety, when they were putting on the in man on the line of scrimmage, we were struggling with it. We weren't jamming him off the line the whole time very well, and then we were catching him in the secondary. When we were trying to play zone, the quarterback did a great job of finding the pockets on him. But like I said earlier, we were going to go down swinging in that 2-minute drill. I mean, he was going to have to stand back there and fend for his life because we were going to send everybody in.
You mentioned Phillips, but you had to have Fields out there. You had to have
we had a bunch of them out there.
Thomas out there, yep. Lambert out there. I mean, how did you manage all that to keep, with
It took a little bit away of what we could call because some of those guys aren't experienced enough. They haven't been doing it for the 9 games so far. So you get a little bit leery. And then when you do call stuff that they don't execute or make an assignment mistake and it's glaring, well, then there goes another thing that you can't call. So we got to coach those guys better. That's not on them. That's on the coaches because don't call it if they can't do it. So we got to get them better. I mean, they won. The players won, okay? And I'll say this over and over. Coaches don't win games. Coaches can lose games. Players win games. And we got good players in that locker room. And they're confident and they're believing in themselves. So, I mean, we had a lot of inexperienced guys out there, even more so than this. And that sounds crazy for this defense. But when they had to at the very end of the game, they made plays. And that we won.
What does it say, though, that you have 5 freshmen out there, I guess, at times, and you're bowl eligible with 2 games left and a shot to win the South? Like, just the big picture of that.
Big picture means we're going to be really good someday. We're just okay right now. we're playing good enough to win games. Earlier in the season, I think I sat in that chair in Colorado and said, we're good enough to be close. Well, we've gotten a little bit better then, because now we're good enough to win games, and we've won 3 in a row. And that game right there, 4 weeks ago, we don't win. So the maturing process is getting better. They're getting better. 439 hours is going to put me in the grave, man. I'm not used to that. So, and that's standard around here is not going to. I mean, we've got to continue to get better, because I don't like that. I mean,
the physicality against Utah was such a big element. Did you feel that you matched the physicality today?
Yeah, they weren't getting chunk yards running the ball. I mean, we couldn't cover 81. I mean, we could not cover 81. It didn't matter whether it was zone or pass. He did a really nice job off the line of scrimmage. I mean, a couple times he's so wide open because we're covering with a D lineman. We're giving free safety help over the top. He's stepping and playing run with those guys, which we're asking him to do some hard things, play run and cover him. But then as soon as they bite on it, he's out of there. And so now they're trying to chase him, and he's way too good of an athlete to do that. So then we tried to play some man coverage where we got a safety, because anytime they got us 3rd and long early, they did a great job scheme-wise. They were running some mesh routes and picking us off. And instead of just running through those things like we practice, we got big, wide eyes. Now you got a young guy out there who's never been in a real game situation like that in Cam. And so a couple of those mesh routes, he's trying to make sure he don't get picked off. Well, continue to coach him better. It's just like it's funny. Here's a good story for you. Days of Thunder, great movie. None of those dudes have seen it. Okay, NASCAR movie. You see a pile of smoke, you accelerate to get through that thing. It's just like a mesh route. If you accelerate, you can find your way through there a lot easier than when you're trying to avoid. It's like a car accident. You're trying to avoid, you get hit. Well, that comes with experience. So one, I got to show them the movie so they know what I'm talking about when I'm trying to coach them, and then 2, they got to get used to it. And he got some valuable experience, which over the next 2 weeks with the 2 teams we play is going to really help.
You just got to mash together the Days of Thunder and the film of the mesh route.
That's exactly right. I'm going to put mesh with smoke. I'm going to buy a fog machine so they just run through things and don't even worry about what they're going to run into. You guys are innovative. See, better coaching techniques.
Your experience, Danny, is the emotion on senior day something that can fuel a team, or is it a hurdle to get over?
With this young of a team, I thought there was a lot of distractions that we didn't handle early very well. I mean, that first drive was atrocious. I mean, that's as bad a defense as you can get. Now we came back, we get the turnover with some pressure, and then we stopped. They missed the field goal, and then, I mean, we've got to continue to build on those things, but get 3 and outs instead of letting them drive a little bit and then making plays. We're making plays as we get backed up. I think a little bit of that was because of the distractions. I mean, that whole senior day, it's a really cool deal, but it's just different. And when you don't have a veteran group, they handle things differently. Now, once all that stuff was done, the game started. Once you get into a flow, then it's easier to coach them up. But I think a little bit. No excuse, though. We should play better than that.
Do you think either safety will be able to come back, or do you have any sense of that?
I have no idea. DeMonte's shoulder, he sublexed it, and if it would have been an emergency, he might have been able to play, but he couldn't hardly lift his arm this high, so he wouldn't have been able to tackle anybody. And then Jalen Harvey, very similar to the SC game. Yeah. We'll progress him again tomorrow. He'll do treatment all week, and we'll see. I mean, we'll keep giving Evan and Daz reps. And I thought Evan made he made a play on 3rd down out there to get off the field that was huge in coverage. So, I mean, those guys are getting better. They made some plays. I mean, Cam Phillips made a play. They ran a little bubble screen out there. Linebacker sucks up on the RPO, and Cam Phillips makes a tackle for a 3-yard gain. I mean, I don't know if DeMonte would have made that play. Mm-hmm. So there's some good and bad to that, and like I said, it was valuable experience. It's always better to coach them when you win, and winning's not easy. I mean, I said it before, I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. That's why I'm who I am, I guess. But we won, and winning football games ain't easy. So they need to enjoy it and have a great time, and then put it away and get ready to go for next Sunday, tomorrow, and get ready for it.
Did you think about going to Daz at all there just because of his experience versus some of the younger guys?
No, the guys that are in there, the guys that we think right now are the ones that can make plays.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Daz, he was ready, but I just thought the situation, the guy that had the feel for the game was good. Because sometimes you put a guy in there that hadn't been in the game and they haven't seen what's going on in front of them, and even though they have experience, it's a different situation. So unless they're in the flow of it, I'd rather be with the guy that's in the flow and have a chance to make a play.
Can you grade the performance of Chase Lucas? Can you tell us what you thought about
that? There was good and bad. He had a 3rd down in the first half against Caleb Wilson. He comes up and he tries to tackle him with his shoulder and makes him miss. He gets the 1st down. Call him over the sideline. And I've had this conversation with him before, and he looked me in the eyes, and he knows, he can see just the disappointment and just frustration in my face. And he, Coach, Chase, stop. Hit him with your face right in his chest. I promise you, you're going to get run over. And you know what? It's okay. When you get run over, he gets an extra yard, but he doesn't get the first down. About 2 series later, right at the end of the first half, he came up and did exactly what we asked. And we stop him and get off the field in a 2-minute situation. Right before half, we make him punt. He got the turnover. He did pretty good down there in man coverage there at the end. So, I mean, he started off cold. As soon as we get those guys to all tackle like that all the time, then you get off the field. 7 of 14, we had 2 opportunities on missed tackles. Now you're 5 of 14. That's 30%. That's pretty good. So we got to fix those things. So it was hot and cold.